Now, the Automobile Association says an extra R100 levy to be paid over and above all traffic fines will amount to a stealth tax. A stealth tax is a tax disguised as something else. The infringement penalty levy of R100 is included in the latest draft of the Administrative Adjudication of Road Traffic Offences Act, or AARTO. Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula gazetted the latest draft of the Act regulations last week. Those are set to be rolled out in the middle of next year. The AA not happy to discuss. We're joined by Automobile Association spokesperson Layton Beard. Layton, thank you for being with us. Tell us why you find this R100 additional so unfair.
Well, I think we need to put it in context, Francis, and when you look at the reasoning behind including it, it's to administer the fine process, and in our view, that should be covered certainly by the fines. The infringement penalty levy is a multi-billion rand tax which will generate revenue orders of magnitude beyond that needed by the Road Traffic Infringement Agency. When you consider the number of infringement notices and fines that are going to be issued, they're going to be in the hundreds of thousands, and the money generated from the IPL will be in the order of billions. And we reject this outright. In our view, it's similar to saying to somebody, well, you have to pay to have your taxes submitted, and it's unfair and unjust. And so we don't want that to be included in the final regulations, and we think it should be taken out.
Apparently, even if you dispute the fine and it's wiped out, you still pay the R100. So technically, correct me if I'm wrong, the authorities could make a lot of money by dishing out fines, even if they're invalid in the end.
So the issue of whether the amount is going to be repayable on contestation or successful contestation of an infringement, I think, is a little up in the air. Upon review of the legislation, the AA is of the view that it is not clear whether it will be paid, repaid or not repaid. We maintain that the law says it will not be repaid, and it's an amount that will be forfeited by the infringer. But be that as it may, the second part of your question, Francis, is absolutely correct. There are going to be a lot of people who would just rather pay this money, get it over and done with, and be done with the whole fine process. But that's unfair. It's going to generate billions of rands simply for the benefit of receiving a fine. And when I put it in those terms, I think a lot of people will agree that that's unfair. The fine amount should cover the administration of the process, and not an additional amount that we feel is being added on at the end as a stealth tax.
South Africa as a whole does need more tax. It's always a question of do you tax the e-toll users? Do you tax people pay as you earn? Do you find these other ways? What do you say to people who would say we should all follow the law, and why not tax the lawbreakers?
Look, I think we absolutely agree with the principle that people who do wrong need to be punished, and they need to be punished according to the scale of the offence committed. So if you are stopped for not wearing a seatbelt or whatever, you should be fined, and certainly the amount that you are fined needs to be commensurate with the crime that you have committed. We don't believe that adding any additional amount onto that is going to necessarily resolve every problem we have, and especially because the money that is generated will go to the RTIA and not to the National Fiscus. That's our understanding on the reading of the legislation. We would prefer to see a situation where if somebody is fined, they pay that fine amount and they move on. But adding an additional amount onto that, no, we think it's unfair, and we reject it outright.
This is a draft regulation at the moment. What will you do about it?
A great question, Francis. Well, we are going to be publishing our full submission as well as an executive summary to the submission sometime later this week, hopefully tomorrow. That will be up on our website, and we urge all motorists to go and have a look at that submission. What we will be asking for is for people to read through the submission, and if they agree with our points of view, to actually sign that submission, and we will be submitting the full report to Parliament ahead of the deadline on 1 December, hopefully with thousands of people endorsing our point of view and supporting our submission.
Layton, finally, I've just looked at reports saying that this also includes some wording about the e-tolls, which has been the subject of debate for years and years. Government not making a decision there. Is that the decision, that there will be no change, do you believe, because it's included?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult question to answer, Francis, because we have been waiting for clarity on the way forward for e-tolls for a number of months. We met the Minister of Transport in August last year, and he said that he would be giving clarity on what's going to happen to e-tolls in January and then in February. So that hasn't come through, and we're waiting for that. I think it would be premature of me to say, what the way forward with e-tolls is until we've actually heard from the Minister on exactly what the government's position is and how they want to take that forward. We've put our case very strongly, and that is that we don't believe e-tolls work. We believe that the vast majority of users in Gauteng have voted with their pockets and have dug in their heels, essentially, and that no amount of threats of legal action is going to change that. And that's the message we gave to the Minister as well. We certainly don't think that e-tolls is working or will work going into the future, but we are waiting with keen interest to see what the Minister and the government's version of what they want to do with e-tolls is going to be going forward. And until that happens, I think we'll wait with our commentary and see what their final decision is.
All right. Thank you very much. That was Automobile Association spokesperson Layton Beard.